In Belgium, a speech about immigration statistics triggered a question that now divides much of Europe. Should a democracy punish speech for social consequences, even when the data itself is real? Belgium in 2024 became the settings for a controversy that began inside a university lecture hall and quickly expanded into a national debate. The event brought together students, journalists, and activists, all aware that the speaker, Dries Van Langenhove, was already a deeply polarizing figure in a Belgian public life. From the outset, the lecture was not merely an academic event, but a part of a broader and ongoing political conflict. To his supporters, Van Langenhove represent a voice willing to address topics they felt were increasingly avoided in the mainstream discourse, particularly immigration and its social consequences. They viewed his appearance as an opportunity to discuss contentious issues openly and to challenge what they perceived as a limitations on public debate. To his critics, however, Van Langenhove embodies a political style that risked framing sensitive issue in a way that could deepen social division. They argued that giving him a platform at the university raises a concern about the impact of such messages on public discourse, turning the lecture into a focal point for wider debates about free speech, academic freedom, and social responsibility. During the lecture, Dries Van Langenhove focused on immigration and presented statistical claims related to crime and demographic trends. He referred to data he described as coming from official sources and publicly available studies, arguing that certain patterns were not receiving sufficient attention in political debate, according to his perspective. Those issues deserve greater public scrutiny and discussion. Supporters interpreted his remarks as an attempt to bring empirical data into an area they believe had become politically constrained or selectively discussed. They argued that statistical evidence, even when controversial, should be examined openly and debated, rather than dismissed because of its political implications. For them, the lecture highlighted correctness about wherever some topics could be discussed freely in public and academic settings. Critics, however, empathize that even when statistics are drawn from a real database, the way they are selected, framed, and communicated can significantly influence public perception. They argue that focusing on a particular figures without broader content may lead audience to draw misleading conclusions, especially on an issue as sensitive as immigration and public safety. As a result, the dispute extended beyond the data itself and into a broader question about interpretation, responsibility, and the role of public figures in shaping social debate. The reaction after the lecture was immediately sharply divided. One interpretation that emerged in public debate was that Van Langenhove was being penalized for expressing politically sensitive conclusion based on real data, raising concern among his supporters about the boundaries of acceptable speech in a democratic society. The opposing interpretation was that the issue was not the existence of a data itself, but broader impact of how data was presented in relation to social groups. This division reflects a deeper disagreement about how demographic societies should handle controversial speech that intersect with identity, belonging, and public order. The matter was eventually reached the Belgian legal system, where it was examined under national law concerning hate speech and incitement. Report of the court proceeding indicates that the central question was not solely whatever the statistics cited in the lecture were fabricated or inaccurate. Instead, the legal focus was on whatever the manner in which of the interpretation was communicated could be interpreted as a contributing to the hostility towards protected groups. This distinction shifted the discussion away from factual verification alone and towards the broader legal and social implication of public expression. At the center of the debate lays a structural tension present in many democracies. One perspective holds that democratic society depends on the unrestricted ability to discuss publicly available data, even when interpretation of that data leads to uncomfortable or controversial conclusions. From this view, limiting such discussion risks narrowing public discourse and undermining open debate. The opposing perspective holds that information does not exist in isolation from its social impact, and that when public statements contribute to fear or hostility towards group, democratic societies may impose limits to prevent harm. Both positions claim to defend democratic values, but they define those values differently. In the end, the case became more than a single lecture or legal proceeding. It became a reflection of a wider European question about how democracies balance freedom of expression with a protecting against harmful speech. The lecture hall is now empty, and the immediate controversy has passed into courts. In the end, the case became more than a single lecture or legal proceeding. It became a reflection of a wider European question about how democracies balance freedom of expression with a protecting against harmful speech. The lecture hall is now empty, and the immediate controversy has passed into courts.